Why does a price tag that reads $9.99 feel so much cheaper than $10? It's one penny, one single penny. And yet your brain treats those two prices like they live in completely different worlds. That's not an accident. That's a trick. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's what's actually happening inside your head. When you read a price, your brain doesn't process every digit equally. It anchors hard on the first number it sees, the leftmost one. So when you look at $9.99, your mind quietly files it under 9 something. It rounds down, not up. $10 feels like the double-digit territory. $9.99 feels like you're still safely in the single digits. Researchers call this the left digit effect, and it is shockingly powerful. Think about that. Stores are willing to give up that final penny on millions of transactions because they know it pays them back many times over. They're not pricing things to make money on the penny. They're pricing things to manage your perception. Now, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually saw a clean, round price tag at a store that wanted you to spend casually? You almost never do. Round numbers, like a flat $20, send a different signal. They feel deliberate, premium, considered. That's why fancy restaurants and luxury boutiques often use clean numbers, sometimes without even a dollar sign. They want you thinking about quality, not quantity. But the store that wants you grabbing things off the shelf without thinking, that store loves its 99s. Here's a quick reframe that changes everything. The next time you see a price ending in 99, just round it up in your head, out loud even. That $4.99 sweater is a $5 sweater. That $19.99 gadget is a $20 gadget. It sounds almost too simple to matter, but you're forcing your brain to do the thing it naturally refuses to do, which is read the price honestly. You're taking back the penny. But charm pricing is just the beginning. Let's talk about the words. Have you ever noticed how the word sale can make your heart beat a little faster? There's a reason a price tag with the original number crossed out feels so satisfying. Your brain doesn't actually evaluate whether a price is good in a vacuum. It can't. It has no idea what a fair price for a blender truly is. So it does the only thing it can do. It compares. It looks for an anchor. So the store hands you one. It shows you a higher number first, the so-called original price, then a lower number next to it. Now your brain has a reference point, and suddenly the lower price feels like a win. You didn't spend $40. You saved $20. Notice the flip there. The story in your head stops being about money leaving your wallet and starts being about money you supposedly rescued. That feeling, that little hit of victory, is the product they're really selling you. And here's the uncomfortable part. The anchor doesn't even have to be real to work on you. Studies have shown that just seeing a high number before you shop, any high number, can nudge the amount you're willing to pay upward. That's why the most expensive item is often placed right at the entrance or at the top of the menu. It's not there to sell, it's there to make everything after it look reasonable by comparison. Let me give you a name for this feeling, because naming it is how you start to beat it. That rush you get when you think you're getting a deal. Call it the bargain high. It feels like saving. But spending money to save money is still spending money. You cannot save your way to a smaller bank account by buying things you weren't going to buy. Take a breath here, because the tricks go deeper than tags and signs. They're built into the floor you're standing on. Why do grocery stores put milk and eggs all the way in the back? Things almost everyone needs, parked as far from the door as possible. It's so you have to walk past everything else to get them. Every aisle you pass is another chance for something to catch your eye. Why is the floor in some stores a little different, right where they want you to slow down? Because slowing your steps slows your decisions, and a slower shopper is a more suggestible shopper. Why are the most profitable items placed right at eye level, while the plain, cheaper basics sit down by your ankles or up high where you have to reach? Because they know your gaze does the choosing, and your gaze is lazy. It lands on what's easiest to see. None of this is evil. Let me be clear. Stores are businesses, and this is just clever design. But you deserve to know the game is being played, because right now it's being played on you without your consent. Here's another one that hides in plain sight. The shopping cart. Carts have quietly gotten bigger over the decades, and there's a simple reason. A bigger cart makes the same amount of stuff look small. A half-full cart whispers, "You've barely bought anything. Go ahead, add more." Your brain reads empty space as permission, so you fill it. Now let's talk about the most modern version of all this, the one in your pocket. When you tap a card or click Buy Now, you don't feel the money leave. Cash hurts a little. Handing over physical bills lights up the part of your brain that registers loss. But a tap, a click, the pain is gone, and so is your natural break. They call this the pain of paying, and the entire design of modern checkout is built to numb it. One-click ordering, saved cards. Buy now, settle up later. Every step is engineered to put more distance between the decision and the discomfort. So what do you actually do with all this? You don't have to quit shopping. You don't have to live in fear of a price tag. You just need a few small habits that put the friction back where the store removed it. First, round every charm price up, out loud or in your head. Read prices honestly. Second, ask one question before any unplanned purchase. Not, is this a good deal, but would I want this at full price? The deal is the bait. Your actual desire for the thing is the only number that matters. Third, reintroduce a little pain of paying. Some people set a rule that anything over a certain amount has to wait 24 hours. Others keep a small amount of cash for impulse temptations, just so they can feel the money leave. The point isn't the specific trick. The point is to wake up the brake the store tried to numb. And fourth, when you feel that bargain high rising, that warm rush of, "I'm saving so much," pause and name it. Say to yourself, that's the feeling, not the math. The feeling wants you to act fast. The math is happy to wait. So let's go back to where we started. That price tag reading $9.99, the one your brain wanted to call 9-something. You know now it was never about the penny. It was about a tiny, quiet bet that you wouldn't be paying close attention. Every charm price, every crossed-out number, every oversized cart, every frictionless tap is the same bet, placed over and over again. But here's the bigger idea, the one worth sitting with. Almost none of this works on a person who is paying attention. The whole machine runs on autopilot, on the version of you that's distracted, rushed, and reacting. So the real question isn't how stores get you to overspend. It's something quieter and far more interesting. Who's actually making your choices when you're not paying attention? Because that, it turns out, is where all of your money really goes.